Ah,
Yep. It's just that little camera turn on.
I had removed everyone.
No, and it was perfect. I knew we were just gonna have that one little hitch, but we're still growing. It's amazing.
There we
Happy
go.
Friday, guys. Happy Friday the 13th, if I might. Welcome back to another Biscuits with Bosses. And yes, we call it Biscuits with Bosses out of respect and reverence for Ted Lasso. So we're here to get to know leaders in the film and television industry over a spot of tea. And if I do say so myself, I'm feeling, I don't know if you can see, I'm feeling a bit extra. With me today, I'm so glad to introduce fellow filmmaker, but epic jack of all trades, Enrico Natale, which if you have not had the pleasure to meet Enrico, he is an independent spirit and NAACP Image Award nominated filmmaker with decades of professional experience as a writer, director, producer, actor, editor. He's produced over 22 feature films and countless other projects, with his work being seen on, just little places like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Sony, NBC. Y'all, this man's amazing. And of course, he has a recent release called The Ritual with Al Pacino and Dan Stevens. So do me a favor, give a great big round of applause to our...
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And our Ed McMahon for today, of course, is the incomparable Mr. York. Mr. York, tell us, what are you drinking, sir?
I'm having my usual, which is a London Fog, Earl Grey, creamer, and sugar, because it's just coffee, but with tea. Enrico, do you have anything to drink today?
Oh man, so I have to go to my go-to, which is coffee, but coffee with like just a crazy amount, and then obviously I have to have my
Nice.
Not for my child who's obsessed with Pokemon, but it was just too cool of a mug for me not to use.
Yeah.
So I have to take it. He drinks milk out of it, so I was like, "Come on, you got to drink coffee out of this."
I love how this is actually a shared mug, right? It's not just yours; it's also your child's.
Oh yeah.
Wait, now, so coffee is your go-to drink, not tea. What is your 2 cents on tea? Are you also a Ted Lasso? It tastes like wet paper bag.
Not necessarily, but like here's the thing. My issue with like any sort of tea is that I just have to put so much honey and sugar and anything into it for me to like drink it, and I think it just ruins the purpose of tea for me to put that much into it. But I do enjoy it. I do like it, but I am just so addicted to coffee, and I have coffee every morning to keep myself going. And my wife started having tea at night, and it's been really nice for her. She's really enjoyed it, and she's convincing me to do it. So I think I'm gonna, jump on that bandwagon at the end of the night to settle my stomach.
Yeah, man. I really do feel like there's a tea for everyone. Like, I'm also a martial artist, and I always say there's a martial art for everybody. There's definitely a tea for everybody. So yeah, definitely find your tea. Now, technically, if it says herbal or caffeine free, it is not tea. Just throwing it out there. No shade. It's still a hot beverage that is steeped in a thing. Technically.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
That little factoid was brought to you by Special Seasonings, which has a factory tour. And if you go on the tour, they tell you all these things about tea. Just a quick bid so that if, Special Seasonings ever wants to be a sponsor, you guys let me know. Which I know that you are super busy and have so many things going on, including the release of this film. So I kind of want to make our getting to know you time a little like rapid fire. Are you
Sure.
down for some like getting to know you?
Rapid fire it. Let's make it happen.
Yes. Well, in the spirit of Ted Lasso, first concert, best concert.
My first concert is actually my best concert. They're both the exact same thing. And it's my first concert was I got to see my favorite band, which was Cake. Which is very niche. They not a lot of people know them, but I absolutely love them and adore them. And it was my first concert I ever went to, and I was like, an adult. I was like 18 years old. I had never been to a concert, and I went to it, and it was just the most amazing experience. And I've had been to numerous other concerts since then, but nothing like seeing my favorite band. And at that point, I was absolutely obsessed with them. So it was just such an incredible experience. So
I feel like generationally we have to ask Matt, do you know who Cake is?
I love Cake. Short skirt, long jacket,
Oh,
going
Yes.
the distance.
yes.
It's great.
Yeah,
I enjoy them. Fashion Nugget is a great album, but I can't tell you much else that they've done.
yeah, most people can. Fashion Nugget had an incredible basis too, and it was just such a very popular album. But I would say for me, I know every single one of their albums, and they're all really, kind of unique and have that Cake kind of texture to them that makes them so interesting, and great lyrics, and he's just a true artist. Love it.
100%. That's why I had to ask you, Matt, was because I gasped out of sheer shock because my partner may hate me because of how many times I play Cake because I wake up to I Will Survive and sometimes Going the Distance. Yes. And
both great karaoke songs too.
Great.
Busting out the I Will Survive from the Cake version is always great.
Mm-hmm. There's something about that trumpet that really just sends it home as like something more than just spoken poetry. It just, yes, like you said, true artist.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
This is supposed to be rapid fire, but man, I was so shocked by the oh my God, Cake! I love Cake.
Right, I know. Most people I could pick a new band, but I still love Cake.
I'm not even sure I can beat that one. My first concert was Beach Boys, and just as a matter of because my mother wanted to bring me in, she didn't want anybody else to have my first concert, so we made it like family friendly, right? Also very karaoke-y. Of all the concerts I've had, the one that is the most momentous is probably Aretha Franklin. She performed live for a Smithsonian celebration, and I was out on the lawn, and I just remember sitting up, completely ignoring, my boyfriend at the time, and just I'm going to remember this for all of my life. I can die happy now. Yeah. I'm not saying it's still the best concert, but yeah. Okay, but since someone mentioned it is Friday the 13th, and because you do have this phenomenal horror film coming out, what was your first ever horror film in theaters?
Oh man, in theaters, I think the one that I can remember had an impact on me. I would say, that I would remember it was probably Scream. Seeing that in theaters was it was just really terrifying and great, and that experience was really, really memorable. I would say memorable. I probably saw them prior to that, but I don't remember them, and I don't remember if they had an experience to me. But Scream was probably the first one that I remember really hit me, and I was like, wow, this is jarring and terrifying and really powerful.
Yeah, that opening is so classic.
Oh yeah,
so well done.
It really puts you into the mood of the movie. I mean, it puts you right in there. So I certainly enjoyed it.
I'm not going to insult you by saying, Matt, have you seen Scream?
Yes. I'm not that uncultured, man.
It's not uncultured. Just sometimes things get lost in generations. So, I'm just making sure that it translates. Although sometimes I'm sorry, say again, Matt?
A lot of other horrors have copied it since, and tried to emulate that. And so it's been done a lot, and sometimes even better in newer films. But Scream was kind of the OG of that style of horror.
Yeah,
I feel like it definitely started the slasher genre and definitely pioneered it for what it is of just a lot of fun characters, but you didn't have to get behind them. It was the original meaningless character, the original meaningless side characters, which I thought was really nice because I agree. There's been a lot of stuff that tries to emulate it since, and it's just not the same. I mean, even a lot of the sequels, because there's 7 of them now. It's just not. It's not as
Yeah,
fun as
they
the
don't.
original.
They can't
Yeah.
capture the same essence.
Also, I think it switches some part of the narrative about a protagonist because Halloween, was such a monumental slasher as well. But
Mhm.
there's something to be said for how much time was really invested in like the psychosis of Michael Myers, right? And how twisted he was, and less about his victims. And so
Yeah,
that starting scene with Scream is so heavily steeped in identifying and really being in that moment with the victim.
Yeah.
That yeah, in a way I would agree with you, Matt, that it reinvented that slasher to shift perspective,
absolutely. Yeah. And Halloween is also like I just happened to have seen that after I saw Scream. Like, I kind of got into horror a little bit later in my adult life, and I I happened to go back and watch a lot of that. But certainly Halloween was pretty terrifying. I mean, really just because of the music for me, they nailed just like creepy, intense, just like puts you right in the oh boy, like here it comes, and like they one of the best kind of themes for a horror movie that has ever been done, really.
And just to switch gears, at full disclosure, I'm not into horror. The first film I ever screamed out loud in the theaters was Jurassic Park because seeing a dinosaur eat a lawyer off the toilet, and I was 13, so I was seeing a movie for the first time by myself and saw that, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna let myself scream because I'm feeling it, why let it in?
Yeah.
But I keep getting dragged into watching other things in order to write them. Thanks, guys. But I wanted to invite people. If you're watching right now, let us know. What's your favorite horror? What's the horror that kind of broke you into wanting to watch it in theaters? And then my next question for you, since we're in a lightning round and we go, is there a horror right now that you're clamoring to see in theaters?
Yes, there is. Bring Her Back looks really,
Mm,
really good, and I've been trying to get to the theaters to see it. That just looks really kind of what we were talking about before. Okay, prior to this was that prestigious horror, the idea
yeah.
of like this like elevated horror. This is really like a trauma movie with these children and what they have to go through, and I just think that it looks so appealing, and I'm very very excited to check it out in theaters. So I got to get away. I got to get away. I'm gonna try to get there to see it. Plus, I
Uh,
love A24 is fantastic. So
right.
they do good stuff.
They really do. They invest in really dynamic filmmaking.
Mhm.
I'll have to I'll have to see if I can take it. I'm a slow creep. I wait for all the things to kind of happen and then I see it in theaters with five other people. So I'll probably be seeing Sinners now
Yeah.
because I just oh, hey. Thanks for that, Mike. Mike Fitzer says The Exorcist did me in. Yeah, I would too. And actually, speaking of The Exorcist, Enrico, I hear you have a thing out in theaters right now. How's
Yeah.
that going?
Good. I mean, it's been cool to have a movie release, in a wide enough. I'm an independent filmmaker, and a lot of my theatrical releases have been like 20 theaters, or 30, or 50, or 100 was one. But this one was released in a ton of theaters in Europe as well, and in America, and so it's been cool to see a wider released film. Still not like 3,000 theaters or anything like that, but it was really a kind of a breakthrough moment for me in my career and kind of the
Yeah.
progression of my career.
Oh my God. I can't wait to celebrate that with you. But before we move into the victory round, do you want to maybe show our viewers a little taste of what's to come with the ritual?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Sweet. Matt, do you have
Nope.
Brethren, put on the armor of God, that you might withstand the devil. is a very troubled woman. Hissing at the side of a church?
The woman's parish wishes to attempt a solemn sacrament.
You mean an exorcism? You would like me to perform it?
No, some poor other soul already has that distinction.
We are the Lord's army in this battle.
Feel we should forego the restraints.
She is touched by something otherworldly.
What if what she really needs is a doctor?
We are paying a price for your lack of faith. By your holy resurrection.
Deliver us, O Lord.
Something is happening and it's affecting all of us.
What you are doing is failing. The sisters are traumatizing. I want to shut this down.
I feel like I'm being drawn into something. I can't sleep, I can't think.
For us to be divided is for us to fall. We are the ones that stand in the breach and hold back the darkness. It is he who commands you. Look at the light, Emma! See the cross of the Lord! Reveal yourself! Emma?
Emma?
Wow.
Oh,
So
right?
It's a comedy. It's a straight comedy. Yeah. We're not that good at comedy, but you know we try to. It's funny. No,
Oh,
it's,
that's great. For those of you who are just now joining us, we're talking with Enrico Natale, writer and producer, one of the writers and producers on The Ritual, which just released this past June 6th, and it is still in theaters. So if you're looking for a good old-fashioned creep out, this is the way to go, because that trailer alone, y'all, that trailer alone. And I gotta say, sorry, Matt, would you make sure that there's like a link, either AMC or Fandango?
Yeah, let
Y'all
me-
can get your tickets like today, because Friday the 13th. This is like
Oh, yeah.
perfect.
yeah, perfect.
Okay. Full disclosure. I have never really, because while my best friend is Mexican Catholic, like I've never really put any sort of stock in exorcisms. So the fact that this is based on true stories,
Yeah.
like, yeah, that has to make it 10 times creepier.
It's creepy, but I think what we emphasize more so than anything is authenticity for the project. I think what I really appreciated is we've had a lot of Catholic priests and the Catholic community come and reach out to us and be like, this is like what it is. Like you were able to display it, how it actually happens in real life, how these things actually are performed, the actual language used, the different kind of movements and actions that happen inside of an exorcism. We really tried to be as authentic as possible with that. And so, I would say that, there's your pick of 7,500 exorcism movies at this point and that have been made. So that's the kind of differentiator for us that we try to make different, is that this isn't so much like head spinning, crazy, like ridiculous kind of stuff. It's more real, based in reality. Even in the way it's shot, it feels docudrama. It feels like you're kind of in the room with it. So the director, who's a creative partner of mine, was very adamant on kind of focused on shooting it a specific way to make the audience understand that this is supposed to feel real, because we followed all of the actual actions that you would when you we talked to many exorcists and kind of did a lot of research in terms of the movements and actions and things that happen inside of an exorcism. So we're pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I mean, you should be. And also, just whew, Okay.
Yeah.
No, and sorry, I'm just trying to like shake off the creep.
Yeah. It's
But
so funny. It's super funny, Kay. You're gonna love it.
laugh the whole way through.
Yep. Yeah, you're gonna
Always gonna
laugh
be laughing at me.
the whole way through.
Oh, I love this. Mike Fitzer says it's gonna be hard to watch this with my eyes closed and wearing earplugs. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. I'm with you
Right,
there, Mike. No, what I kind of love that because you said not documentary style, but docudrama, which is very
Mhm.
much coming in television before I moved over to film. Like that's very much my wheelhouse, and it is very like I ain't saying low budget, but it's easier to get it past the budget bar because
Yeah.
of that style.
Yep. Sure.
Do you
It's a
feel like
great tool. Yeah.
yeah, and because you're an indie producer, like do you feel like you were able to go further with this because of those kind of lower budget techniques?
I think so. Yeah. It's still an independent project, and we were able to attract someone like Al Pacino to it, which is incredible. But I think that style of filmmaking, which again the director really likes, reactionary. We call it reactionary filmmaking. You
Mm,
don't focus on the thing that's falling. You hear it and then turn to it. So it's a very unique style. Paul Greengrass does it really well too. It's a very specific style of filmmaking that I tend to enjoy as well. I think it's a lot of fun, and it does make you feel like you're in the room, make you feel like you're there, kind of witnessing it with everyone else.
yeah. Oh my God, yes. And I really want to celebrate this as your victory, but I don't want to take that language from you because when we do victory rounds here on Biscuits with Bosses, the purpose of it is to celebrate something that you did that aligns with your values, even if other people don't see it. So, for example, if you win a contest, celebrating the win is fine, but really what I want to celebrate is the fact that you finished the script in the first place, right? Or that you submitted in the first place. So,
Mhm.
with that in mind, do you have a recent victory that you want to celebrate with us?
Like this last week victory, like a small victory or like a big victory.
Let's do one and then the other. Is there something small and recent that you feel is standing out to you?
Yeah, I have another script that I finished that we just got a second revision done. It's a really powerful project that I'm really excited about, and we just kind of stamped that with our second revision on it this week. So I'm really excited for that, and it's I kind of talked about it the last time we spoke, deadline oriented. Just making sure we hit deadlines, making sure we get to where we want to be whenever we do that. And we were able to hit our deadline and make our next revision. So that's a small victory, but still pretty big, I think. And then the big victory I would say is the release of a film nationwide. That to me was and working with Al Pacino. I mean, like I would be lying if I said that wasn't a pretty big influence for me. And
Right?
and actually coming into the film industry, being Italian American myself, and just seeing kind of his career and what he was able to do, and it was there was a lot of influence there for me. So coming full circle and having him be a part of a film that I was a producer and story writer and editor on, was pretty incredible for me, and having a relationship with him and actually being able to talk to him about the script that I spent 3 years writing, and having it tabbed up and noted up with Al's notes and going through and talking about specific lines. It was just such a surreal experience to have that, but also it showcased kind of his passion and love for filmmaking, even at his young age of 84 years old, when we were doing this. So he it was pretty incredible. So that was a pretty big win for me in terms of a larger thing that I've always a bucket list thing for me as a filmmaker to have worked with Al Pacino.
Yeah, man. Oh, cheers. Cheers to the small and the big victory, sir. That is
Cheers.
a hearty cheers. Mm.
Wow, to be working at 84 years old too. If I could still be doing what I loved at 84, that's crazy.
Yeah, and he wasn't like going through the motions. I genuinely thought he would just be like I'm just thinking of myself at 84, like, and most people I know at 84 are just like, yeah, just give me the lines and I'll say them and do them and move on. But he really cared. I mean, he would call us at 11 o'clock at night to talk about a line that he was thinking about for this one particular scene, and like he was just so like passionate about the character and about the role, and I just admire that for someone who's done so much in his career and is considered one of the goats and one of the greatest to ever do it. He still cared. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
I actually got a question from the audience, if you don't mind doing a little side shuffle for a minute.
Sure.
Just how much time on research, and then how much time from first draft to filming for the ritual?
First draft to filming. So, I mean, time on research was a lot. There's a Father Joseph Steiger, who's the young priest played by Dan Stevens, wrote. He was actually taking notes throughout every exorcism that was done, and that is called Begone Satan. And you can look at it online and you can read it yourself. We read the whole thing multiple times, kind of deciphering it, picking it out, figuring out what we wanted to take from it. And, we spent a ton of time researching. Emma Schmidt was called Anna Eklund. That was her pseudonym for a very long time until, everyone in her family tree passed away. So Emma Schmidt was allowed to be used. And so Emma Schmidt is her real name. She went by Anna Eklund for a while. So you can look at Anna Eklund online. There's just a ton of information. And then also like looking at, exorcism, speaking to exorcists and just doing as much research as humanly possible on this story. And like I said, trying to find the authenticity in what actually happens. There was a lot of that, but we started the process in, I think, 2020, the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, the writing process. And we had a script pretty quickly. But I think what happens is once other parties get involved, revisions start to happen, you start tweaking it. There's so many different revisions that happen on that script. From the moment we gave it to Al to the moment we shot, there was probably like 20 revisions on that. Just distributors have notes, and other producers have notes, and everyone has notes, and everyone has thoughts and feelings. And so part of the job as a filmmaker is to, take all that and try to put it into a script in a way that continues kind of what you want to do.
Yeah.
So I'd say from the time we started filming, we filmed beginning of 2024. So just about 3 years.
Wow. And I feel like, how we get notes behind the note. I feel like there's a victory behind this victory, because at least for me, the through line is you show up consistently. And part of the way you do that is by setting those deadlines and honoring the deadlines. And in having this very professional approach to your filmmaking, it actually allowed you to set yourself up for success, to have this opportunity with another professional, right? And so part of what I'm hearing, even in this story, is like you went through the paces through research, you went through the paces through drafting and filming, but it's still honoring that same, we're going to do it by this time, right? Like we've made a commitment, we're going to do it. And man, like being able to deliver, y'all, that for me, that's the real cheers. Like that's why you invited someone at that level to come and work with you, is because you showed that you could deliver. Who wouldn't want to work with someone like that,
Well, and I think we have to continue to show it and continue to do it. And I think, anyone can deliver. If you, for me, it's all about your mindset. What do you, where's your, how do you perceive things? How do you go about it for yourself? And how passionate are you about it? To me, I'm very passionate about being a filmmaker and doing this. And this is my job. This is my life. This is what I want to do. And so I take that very seriously. I don't go into it going, oh, I'm going to have some fun doing this. Well, I'm sure maybe I'll have fun, but I also want to make something great. And I also want to do something great. And so there's a bit of that edge that I bring to it that I think is important as filmmakers and as a writer or producer or director or whatever you are in the industry, to have that. And I think the people who bring that, I think excel, because that's dedication, that's commitment that you're showcasing every day that you do your work. And so I think it's super important.
Yeah, man. Cheers to that. And look, yes, sorry. Proper cheers.
Yes.
No. And Matt, I didn't compliment you before, but I saw the black mug, but I didn't realize it had the red interior. Very stylish, sir.
Yeah.
Very
I guess I didn't realize how themed I was. Can't change my hair. That's that. So everything else is just part of the aesthetic, I guess.
Matt, sir, are you celebrating a victory from this past week?
Sure. So it may not be as I don't know, as big as getting a movie released. No.
We celebrate all the victories here.
Yeah.
You know that.
So earlier this week, I tried to record, I successfully recorded my voiceover for my like video game series that I'm doing, and I was going to edit it, and I realized the whole thing was unusable. Just the audio for the entire like hour and a half recording was just not feasible. I tried working for like an hour or two to just get around it, and I couldn't. And I was really trying to be like, well, what can I do? When do I have time? Because this was 2 days ago, I guess. And I was like, well, I have this, and then I have like the weekend, and next week is its own set of obstacles. So I was like, screw it, we're just redoing it right now. And I deleted it from Premiere Pro, and I immediately just set up my live stream, pulled up the script, and just like sat down and redid the whole recording, just kind of impromptu, and that felt good. Like, not it sucked to obviously not be at a +1 for the week, which is what I was like thinking, but I'd rather still be at a net 0 than a -1. So that's my small victory.
Yeah, man.
You could have sat there and moped about it and did nothing, but you decided to do something and get yourself back to that net 0. And I think that's a huge victory.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cheers to that, sir. Cheers to that.
Yeah. How about you, Kay?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time, Enrico.
I said I'm going to have so much coffee by the end of this. This is huge. Jacked with energy.
For the record, that's one thing that tea does teach you, is how to sip, because, yeah, if you gulp the way that we Americans especially gulp coffee, no, we go through a 7-Eleven cup at that point. Before I forget, anybody else who is currently listening, tuning in, look, we're also here to help you celebrate your victories, because I don't know if you know this, but like the filmmaking community, the television community, the media creator economy community, we are all in it together. And one of the ways that we can show up for each other is just to take a moment and go, like, I know you're probably beating yourself up because of X, Y, and Z. What are you proud of? Right? What are you doing that's really, really good that you can build on? So let us help you celebrate. The most recent victory, thank you for asking, was last night, because I was like, all right, we're going to do it. We're going to share, the sponsor link during the thing. And today the sponsor is going to be me, because I'm launching this line, which I can't go into until I launch it. But because it is attached to Shopify, I had to finish the design. I was very decisive. I was like, these are the things we're doing. Bam. And then I started trying to, import the design into Printful, because I like their packaging over Printify. Anyway, I'm very excited for it. But the thing that I was very proud of was just the decisiveness of, we're just doing this tonight. We're getting it done. It needs to be done by tomorrow. Now, I can't help when technical things happen, and I was stopped by a technical thing on Shopify. So no shade to Shopify, just I did my part. And I relinquished it at like 2 a.m. because I was like, nope, I need sleep. But I also know that things that look hard before you begin look infinitely more attainable once you start. And so for me, I've been holding on to this for a really long time. And in the process of like, okay, we're getting it done tonight. It was like, oh, okay, maybe it'll take a little bit longer, but we're on the train. It's going to get, it's going to happen. So, yeah. So I'm proud of jumping in with both feet. And even though technology stopped me, I will still celebrate the effort made. So
Absolutely.
thanks, man.
Cheers to you.
Aw.
Cheers. Another drink.
Another one.
Another drink.
Let's go running.
And if by chance, for anybody who chooses to do a victory round as part of the happy hour, just be careful.
Yeah.
The more people you invite to that party, you might get a bit sloshed. Oh, we do have a victory in from the audience. Matt, did you want to read it off? And
Yeah, absolutely. So Mike says that their victory was they won a cash prize in a screenplay competition, and they had an EP with a fantastic indie track record come on board to raise funds for their next feature. It's been a good week for them.
Great.
Congratulations, Mike.
It's really
yes. Cheers, Mike. Cheers. I won't make you drink another one if you don't want.
All going for it.
Need some more coffee?
Oh, man. Okay. So with our last few minutes, because, there's a nice candy coating to this whole conversation, but part of the reason that we are here is because, quite frankly, much like Ted Lasso, who is all in support of mental health, and not just his own mental health, but certainly supporting as a leader the mental health of his teammates. So I'm always curious to hear from leaders in the industry about, like, what are you doing behind the scenes to kind of protect and elevate the future of filmmaking and the future of filmmakers? So Enrico, I'd love to know, what efforts have you been making that kind of elevate our industry?
Good question. And I think everyone should kind of try to do something to elevate other voices and elevate other filmmakers. And I talk about this a little bit, but this industry can be a black hole sometimes. You can feel like you're by yourself. You feel like you're alone. I have. I think I met you at one of these filmmaker meetups that I do quite often. QCAP, by the way.
Thank you.
Filmmaker meetups that I do, probably every other month or every 3 months or so, and try to bring people together to create new connections, create new, establish relationships with new people, and just kind of open yourself up and say, hey, we're all here to meet other people and connect. And I think it's just really important to try to find ways to do that all the time. My alma mater, I work closely with them, Illinois State University, which, by the way, Brendan Hunt, who is one of the creators of Ted Lasso, went to Illinois State University as well. So it's funny that you say that all the time, but you talk about Ted Lasso, but he's from my alma mater as well. And, working with people who come to Los Angeles and have just not a clue what to do, because I was one of those people. I came to LA and I didn't even know where to start. I was just like, where do I go? And I try to be a voice for a place of comfort for people to come to, and try to give advice and just understand that it's a hard industry, but you just have to know, you have to be focused and know what you want to do and have some dedication to do it. And so part of the reason I have my companies that I do, I have 3 kind of main companies. I have a post-production company, which we help independent filmmakers literally all the time in terms of not having a ton of money and helping get your project at a professional state. Because I think a lot of people forget about post-production, or they don't really put in the time and effort that is needed to make something truly professional. So I'm really proud of that company and some of the work we've done already with filmmakers and helping them kind of get their projects to the finish line. I recently started a what was that?
I was going to ask, is that Redbird Entertainment is the post-production?
That's my production company. So Legion Post is my post-production company. And Redbird Entertainment is my production company, which my alma mater is Illinois State University, and they are the Redbirds. So Redbird Entertainment kind of came from that. And Redbird is my production company. We're the production company behind The Ritual, and The Killing of Kenneth Chamberlain was our last film. We've done a ton of stuff, and that's something where we're trying to find kind of the modern ways of filmmaking. Not everything has to be a $40 million budget to make it. Independent film, it can really truly be, and you saw with like Honora and Coda and all these films that are doing really, really well right now that aren't huge budget movies. You can tell a powerful story with low budgets, and I think Redbird is kind of trying to highlight that as much as humanly possible, that you can do a lot with a little. And you started with like Independent Spirit Award nominated and that was all on a project that was less than $500,000. And we were most people's craft service budget at the Independent Spirit Awards, and we had 3 Independent Spirit Award nominations. So I think you can do a lot with a little, and Redbird's kind of we pride ourselves on that. We try to work with filmmakers to make that happen. And then I recently started Department H, which is a sales agency company, which is not at all what I typically do, but I partnered with someone who is been in that side of the world for almost 2 decades and is incredibly gifted. And I my whole thing, because I've been burned by a lot of sales agents, and I can guarantee you any filmmaker listening to this can probably say the exact same thing. And my whole thing was, if I could be anything, it's just transparent. It's just trying to be honest and transparent with filmmakers, even if it's bad news. I'd rather have bad news than not any news at all. And so, I started that company to try to give filmmakers at least a better voice to that world and what happens there, and try to help them, steer them in the right direction, because that's a pretty crazy. We focus so much on the writing and then the producing and then the editing and then the finishing, and then you're like, what do I do now? Like, what happens when it's done? This is my baby, and now I have to give it to someone else, and so it's a pretty big part of the industry that I think a lot of people don't forget about, but they don't really think about as their strategy as they continue with their process. So
yes, begin with the end in mind.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Where do you want to go with it?
Yeah.
If you're okay with it just being your baby, and maybe some people see it, great, but you can't be upset that that's what happens at the end when that was the intention in the first place.
Yeah, man. I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know you have to dash, but just in the event that there's anyone in the audience who is looking to level up either as a filmmaker or a producer or really just a boss in the industry, do you have any parting advice for up and coming bosses?
It's the advice I say all the time is hold yourself accountable. If you want to move forward in this industry, which is really hard. It's a hard industry. And that's not to make people to make you feel like you can't do it, but it's a lot of time and commitment. There's a lot of incredibly talented people that are doing it right now, and I guarantee you they hold themselves accountable. They hold themselves accountable for their work, for their actions, for their whatever they commit to, they do it. And I think it's so incredibly important to put that on you, because this industry is unlike any other industry in the world. I mean, really, truly, it's beautiful. It's majestic. You can do so much. The art that you can spill out of you is just so refreshing in so many ways, and it can heal your heart. It can do so many things for you, but it doesn't come without the challenges, and you have to understand that those challenges are real, and that you have to really focus on those and focus on the things that you may not know just as much as the things you do know. If you find yourself to be really good in one area and you don't know this other area and it's something you want to do, well, then focus on it, grow, learn how to do it, talk to other people, don't be in your own black hole, right? Don't get absorbed in your own and this happens all the time. And I've talked to so many people who've done so many things more than I have. There's this kind of complex of like, I'm not good enough, or what have I done? You know, there's this, and everyone has it. Literally everyone in this industry has it, because it's impossible not to when you are putting your heart on screen or showcasing it somewhere. And people are going to have opinions, and those opinions may not be the opinions that you share, and you can't get bogged down by them, because they're going to happen, especially if the success you want in your career and life is to be successful and have all these people looking at you. You know, I think Meryl Streep's one of the greatest actresses ever, you know, and actors in general. And there are people that hate Meryl Streep. Like it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. There will be people that hate you if you get to a certain point, and you just you can't let that affect you, because it will. And if it does, you will start entering your own black hole. And so, climb yourself out of that and commit and hold yourself accountable for the actions that you take and the things that you do.
Cheers to that, sir. And if I might, thank you so much for showing up. You've made our Friday. You've made our Friday 13th.
Cheers. Cheers.
I feel like it's the final punishment. One more sip of coffee. Guys, thank you so much for you in the audience for joining us as well. Don't forget that you can watch The Ritual with Al Pacino and Dan Stevens right now in theaters. So get your tickets pretty please. And of course, we're going to see you next week with another very special guest. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you can get notifications about the next live podcast coming up. Until then, have a great weekend. Enjoy some tea.
Bye.
Bye. Wait. Matt, do you want the honor of ending stream?